Welcome. Let me say something about God numbers. I actually gave such a talk 40 years ago in a Specker seminar. It's a beautiful problem. I got hooked with this Rubik puzzle in high school, and I needed a long time to solve it, and it got me hooked also with mathematics. I learned later that it has relations with group theory. This God number problem of minimizing the number of moves which you need, which is a geodesic distance problem in a Cayley graph, is a beautiful problem. Actually, Specker, when I gave this seminar, I just talked about the Rubik cube and specifically, and he thought, this actually finding this number is not really interesting. Well, it's just a number, but in general it is a very interesting problem because it has relations with lots and lots of mathematics. What I want to do is just give a couple of examples of God number computations which we did this spring in this project. And so we played also with two-player games, but everything can be axiomatically defined for n player games, graph theoretically. And it's a nice framework, it's intuitive, it's not very original, and maybe Cayley already started with graphs. I mean, this is very, very intuitive. In the case of two-player games, there is a theorem of Zermelo, which is much older than von Neumann. Von Neumann started in 1928 with a minimax theorem, but then Morgenstern and von Neumann wrote this book in the 40s. But what happens is that you have always a win for one player or a win for the other player, or then a draw. And a good example is chess. We looked at small chess games, and chess problems are actually God number problems. How many moves do you need? And prove that there is a win strategy. So the notion of strategy is also kind of something which is here introduced quite intuitively. A strategy is just a subgraph. And when you have a strategy for the first player, means you can restrict your own game moves, and the strategy for W is restricting your moves, restricting edges in your game graph, edges which come from your positions. So here we have a bipartite graph. In the case of puzzles, like I'm actually mostly discussing, we have only just a directed graph. The God number is the distance from the initial condition to the end position A, which we call A. This is a subset of the vertices which we consider to be solved positions. So it depends on V and A. If you don't give V and A, then it's just a graph diameter. And we always assume it's a finite graph, finite simple graph directed. And we have either bipartite situations like here when you're two-player, or we have just a finite simple graph when we have a one-player game. We don't discuss much the three-player games or more, like with when we have a three-chess game. And the reason is this collusion problem. So there is also no simple Zermelo theorem, trichotomy, which we have. The trichotomy here is that we have either a win for V, a win for W, or a draw. Now, in the case of a single-player game, there's just either you can solve the puzzle or not. So there are puzzles which you cannot solve, like this one. If you take the peg, like this is a peg solid. In this case, there is no solution with an end position 1, but we can write down the whole graph and compute the whole graph. And that's what we essentially did in all cases. We just crank through the whole thing. We compute the whole graph and then compute the geodesic distance. In Mathematica, this is built in. In GAP, this is built in. Maybe just etymologically, the first appearance of this number, God number, is from 1981, done for the Rubik cube, right? So the question was, how many moves do you need here in this puzzle? I'm not aware that in the 15 puzzle, which is a much older puzzle, 100 years, exactly 100 years older than the Rubik, right? This is 100 years older than the Rubik, and I'm not aware that one has actually, looked at this solvable or not. That's actually early on. That is also about 100 years old. One has seen that you cannot just switch two of the elements. But so the graph is disconnected, in this case the game graph, but the minimal number of moves, this was a hard problem, and we cannot do that ourselves. It needs terabytes of RAM, so it needs a special computer where you kind of store the situations off, away from the memory, And it's in general an NP-complete problem to compute, even in this special case of n times m puzzles. 80 is the 4 times 4 puzzle. So this we were not able to do, but we are smaller ones, it's no problem. You can just crank through the whole thing and you can compute the game graph and then compute the diameter. We computed a couple of cases, subgroups of the Rubik cube, where we can really compute all the all the game graph, which is, for example, if you take the group generated by rotations by 180 degrees. This is a much smaller group. And so in this case, we can get the God number using, gap. Often this is kind of because it's so small, the 192 positions of the floppy. We spent a lot of time with this transposition games. This is very interesting because what we have is we have a permutation of n elements, and what we allow is we take with a graph we encode which two pairs of elements can be transposed. So this is a Cayley graph situation, and so you can look at it for certain graphs. For Cn we spent some time with that, and it is actually quite an interesting problem, but it has been solved, maybe a year ago by eminent computer scientists. So this project is definitely part of computer science also. So we battle with a wheel case, and it's interesting that also in the star graph you get the same kind of numbers actually for larger n. And so it is kind of not necessary to use the rim transpositions, but you can go always through the center, and that's more efficient. Very interesting problem, would be a nice research problem to actually settle this. What is the God number for the wheel graphs? So kind of one of the core part is the sliding puzzles. So this is an example of a sliding puzzle, but this one is a very interesting one for the icosahedron case, when the graph gamma is the icosahedron rainbow puzzle, and so you can transpose always only with a hole. So in the case of the octahedron, we can compute that. We can compute it for small graphs, for small random graphs. 5 lines of Mathematica can compute the God number for principal, but for any finite graph. But again, when the graph is larger, like already here with 12 elements, then you have 12 factorial, a graph with 12 factorial numbers and vertices, and so you have to compute the geodesic distance in such a large graph, which is just currently for us not possible. There are also some interesting theorems related to these puzzles. So for the transposition graph, actually something we noticed when making experiments, we saw that they're all Hamiltonian graphs. Actually, this is known. This is a theorem from 75. What are the groups which you get? In the transposition game, this is always the group Sn. It's actually interesting, this is a folklore theorem, so it doesn't seem to appear anywhere in the literature, but everybody assumes it. It's actually not difficult to prove, because you can just take a spanning tree and then use induction. But it's kind of a cool fact that you have here always Sn. You don't get other groups. I mean, the Cayley graph is interesting, but the group itself is not so interesting. It's just always the symmetric group. In the case of sliding puzzles, it's very interesting. Very nice is also the Tower of Hanoi. Right? The Tower of Hanoi, I think in every computer science class you have to program that. I mean, we of course had to program that. We had 2 semesters of computer science course mandatory for mathematicians, and so this is a recursive thing. Once you can solve it for n-1, you can recursively get it for n. And it's also interesting to look at the game graph. The game graph converges to the Sierpinski fractal, and the shortest connection is actually what you actually want to solve. Is you want to put the tower from one to the other, so you have to go here through 2 to the n-1 steps. So in this case you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have to go through 7 steps to get from one to the other. So if you take 3, so you know how to solve it for 2, so you do that, then you put it over and then you solve it for 2 again. So you recursively use the what you know for the n-1 to get it. And that reflects in the self-similar structure of the graph. We looked also at other games, and so there it would be kind of a project for another semester. And for example, Hex is an interesting case, or topological games. They are Connect 4 games. There are lots of tic-tac-toe cases which we looked at. Tic-tac-toe is a very interesting game, and so for example, 2 times 2 tic-tac-toe is actually always a win. 3 times 3 is always a tie. And then you can look at tic-tac-toes with gravity. So these are examples of tic-tac-toe games with gravity. This is a 3 times 3 times 3 tic-tac-toe, and this is 4 times 4 times 4 tic-tac-toe. So in most of these tic-tac-toe cases, one doesn't know what is actually the God number, so the things are too complex to compute. But that's it for today.